So game 4, day 2, we're playing 1 to Ren, otherwise known as the Americans, except for Jamie and Josh. So really, 2 out of 5 people on the team are not American. But I'm playing Dave.
Hey, how's it going?
And his beautiful Admech army, which is up for best painted, I believe. It's really nice, really nice. It's a little bit different. No robots. Go figure.
Ooh, robots.
Electro priests of various varieties, some breachers, chicken walkers, assassins, some orbital flagellants. Interesting list. So we're just starting here. He's got first turn. He's already infiltrated these neuters. Apparently they get a 3+ invuln if they kill something, which is crazy. I'd love to get a 3+ invuln if I kill something.
No, don't you get one of those stop?
I'm of the opinion that custodians need 3+ invuln to be competitive. Not 4+. 4+ still just 50-50, man. Just like I said, I win 50% of the time. Alright, we're just starting here, and we'll be back at the end of the game. Alright, end of the game, my 20-0 here. I got really lucky. Everything I need to go right went right. Everything you need to go right didn't go right, and that's what happens in 40 games. So, great game with Dave. Great farming. I don't mind killing real farmers. Caleb won here, 16-4 or something like that, against Tyranids. How did Ryan do?
He got tabled.
Ryan got tabled, so that's a 20-0 loss here.
That's like better for you. What?
Alright, so how do we stand here?
Right now we're up by 14. We got 2 games left to go. TJ thinks he's winning in that one against Zach, but Zach has more power now, so if we can get through, then maybe Zach brings it back to a tie, and it depends what happens here.
Alright, well, we're going to see what else is happening today. Jeff Brown. How'd it go, Jeff Brown?
I'm on 4 wins. 4 tablings.
So you might win, like, is there a best general today? Not really, it's a team.
The best general for teams. Best general for teams. We're facing loaded dice right now, and it's coming down to the last 2 games. So we need to at least tie them, and then they're out and we're still in. But it's going to be tight. So we'll see.
Cool. See how else is going on. Busy day 2, it's always a little bit more tiring on day 2. A lot of 4K. Struggle to kill each other and just playing objectives. Easy. Missing this game to finish now. 10 minutes left. Let's catch up with this team.
Objective, roll a die. 2.
Oh, you so lucky.
Alright. There's 2 swans.
1, 2, 3, 4. How's this matchup going?
I don't know. Neither of them want to touch or face each other, so it's like, you stay in your corner, I'll stay in my corner.
Well, he's got like, I gotta stay by this tree.
I gotta stay with this tree.
And then he's like, well, I'm gonna stay away from your tree.
That's right.
And that's it.
That's it. It's ugly.
Who's gonna win this round?
The round?
Won.
Oh, yeah, we lost it.
Oh, you already won?
We're at 80 points.
Oh.
So you guys are going in like at the top? I know. That's what I'm just saying.
We are. I don't know because I don't know how the other things are going. So
Yeah, I think if you win the next round, you can probably win everything.
it depends. Because one team's undefeated right now. I think.
One team's undefeated? Who?
I don't know. It's all hearsay.
Rejects.
Yeah.
Like, are you including ties in the undefeated?
No, undefeated.
But rejects is not done playing.
Rejects tied, so
Did they?
they tied yesterday, I think. And
Someone was going in.
There we go.
they're around hinges. They're around hinges on the last 2 games. So they're playing loaded dice.
Who is?
Rejects. So, Mr. My Team, it sucks this year.
What?
You're doing pretty well.
Our team?
Yeah.
Yeah, well this round couldn't went better. 2020, 2020.
We got 2 easy rounds, man, yesterday and this one.
I was legit worried about this
Easy,
matchup.
the fuck?
Oh shit, sorry.
You motherfucker.
Jason and I were in the car this morning.
But the thing is, like, if you match it right, it's fine. If you match it wrong, it's fine.
We matched up okay. I got seized on. Nothing I can do about
we
that.
matched up that yesterday. Is like,
No, this is like
4 auto losses and a win.
when my game didn't
It's not forgiving.
For sale, right there.
You know what's forgiving? Sigmar's forgiving.
Really? I can like snipe my general on the first turn? That's not very forgiving.
Yeah, so you don't have to go first. Sigmar, you can make the other guy go first,
Yeah.
right? And you can shoot my general, I can shoot your general. You base your whole army around one guy. Is that a real army? No. It's not.
I heard you did well at Sigmar at LVO. You just showed up with like a new list and you like won it or something.
Chris was like, Joe, play this. Okay, done.
And that was like your first game at AOS or something.
I played 2 games. 2 games so far, and then I went there. I did well.
Well,
Do you lose that game?
that's a tribute to the game. It's very easy to pick up.
Easy to pick up. It's a more tactical game, though. It's like, movement is important, right?
And you really gotta like scroll through your data sheets for how all the different rules interact and stuff.
Yeah.
And now they added in so many like powers and spells and relics.
Yeah, but it's all synergetic to the army, not synergetic to one guy. Right? And you have to pay points for shit. So if you want this ability, like it's cost you 200 points. So it's 200 points less of an army, but the other guy might have the extra 200 points. It kind of offsets the difference. So it's, I like it a lot more.
All right. All right. Our final round, we're playing Team Salty. My opponent is Tim. I actually played Tim last year.
No, not here. Capital City.
I didn't play. No, I played at Capital City. That was still in the days of Dark Eagle's tank line, which is really not fun. So he's playing Blitz and Trees, and I'm playing my thing, and we're playing that crazy snowball mission where every time you kill something you get more and more cards, so we'll see how out of hand it gets. And we're just finishing the coin here. The objectives are fairly evenly spread, and yeah, so we're going to come back at the end of the game. So that was eventually a 20-0, but last year turned 6, so not too bad. And Caleb, did you win?
Yes.
Okay, well, how else did you do?
So you got tabled, I tabled him, Nick got tabled, Zach was 18-2, so we might lose based on whatever Ryan is.
Take up
Okay.
more space.
There's still 3 Shadow Swords on the table.
There's 2 Shadow Swords on the table.
So he's probably going to lose. Okay, well, we're going to see how it comes out at the end of the day. So we went 2-1 and 2. Yeah. Good job, guys. I don't know where Zach is. So 2-1 and 2, pretty good for a bunch of duffers who didn't really coordinate.
That was really good.
That was pretty good. Could have done closer on camera. Yeah, we're like, where's that? Pretty much on camera. So we'll see who wins. I think we're gonna come
10th.
8.
There's like 20 or 22 teams.
10.
7?
Ever the optimist, right?
That's it.
You're like, I can win this.
We got number 2. I think CanHammer's got this. Yeah. Don't worry, guys. I got this 0.
Stay tuned for next year's team.
All right, and this is how you clear a hall fast. I love almost every table is clear now.
Well, it's silly not to get the guys, not to get the group to do it. Otherwise, it's Chris here for like 2 hours doing it.
All right.
You already get your swag from them, but if you don't, there's a spot to get it right there.
I got the sickest dog.
I'd also like to thank Phoenix Teams and Hobbies. Bill did play in the event. He had to lead. They did some fantastic prize support for us. It's in the back here. So thanks to Phoenix Teams. Forbes Hobbies, Jeremy was here yesterday, he's not here today, but I would like to thank them. He donated more than $1,000 in MSRP product for this event, which is really what drives gets us. Okay, so the first prize that I'm going to go up was we did do a podcast where we did fantasy teams, and Jason Sparks, where are you? You won both times. Fuck you, Sparks! Who was second? I think I was second. Look, you Haynes was last. Hey, where's Hamza? Right there. Second thing. Oh, 1 in 4. 1 in 4. Right, you gotta try it. So this is the format this year. So that's one prize that was separate from that, and that was the game that we held here. So I was gonna have Bill present it, but it is Necromunda box. Okay, this person has been nominated 3 times and never won, but won this year. So congratulations, Wes. Woo!
Have to get dibs on that, eh?
So this year, the battle comprised 60% of your score. Sports and paint were equally worth 20. The top 3 teams were separated by less than 1 point. Okay? Less than 1 point. So all of them had the same battle score, they all had the same sports score, and it came down to a paint score.
Ooh. Oh, bottom of the tank. Bottom of the tank. Comes down to the bottom of the tank.
Hold for suspense.
That shall she wasn't painted.
The 3 teams at the top were Loaded Dice, the Rejects, and CanHammer. Woo! Okay, those are the 3 teams. In the end, one team had Burton, the other teams did not. Next up, Team CanHammer.
All right, everybody. So I'm just on my way back home. CanHammer Team Tournament 2018 is over for another year till next year. So I'll talk about my last 2 games, and then we'll go over final impressions and also how our team did in the end. So my first game today was we were playing teams 1 to Rend. which was, or the American team. Anyways, Josh Death was supposed to be on there, but he couldn't make it. The guy called TJ came up, Dave Koska, and then Josh and Jamie on that team, and one other person, I can't remember. Anyway, I ended up getting matched against Dave Koska and his AdMech. Not your usual robots and stuff, so we had 3 Dune Crawlers, 2 Icarus Rays and 1 Eradication Beamer. And he had a Electro Priest, sort of 10 and 10 of each type of Electro Priest. He had a few Chicken Walkers and a bunch of Vanguards and a Dominus and a Tech Priest, the usual stuff. Then he had an Imperium detachment with Greyfax, Arkle, a big unit, Arkle Flagellants and a Rhino, and like a big unit of 10 or more Crusaders. Those were the Power Swords and the Storm Shields. We were playing on the map with the 2 quarters, table quarters, and the mission, it didn't end up mattering what the mission was, but so I got paired against that. For whatever reason, he didn't start a lot in Infiltrate. I deployed to go first because I felt like I needed to get into his lines or else he was just going to shoot me to death. And I had the +1, but I did not get the turn, and I failed to seize. So I was going to have to survive turn 1 of shooting. There wasn't anywhere to hide. The cover was good, but because of the deployment, he set his Dune Crawlers up on the edge of one of the squares, the quarters, and you could see me. So, and those guys can move and shoot without penalty. So basically, he did infiltrate his melee Electro Priests, and these guys, if they kill a unit in combat, they get 3-up invul and become very difficult to deal with. So anyway, so what happened is he got first turn. He ended up killing 3 of my bikers in the first turn of my 6-man unit, which wasn't great. And then a couple of things that were key happened in this turn. First of all, his Electro Priests charged one of my guardsman units that I was screening with, and all he needed to do was to kill 10 guardsmen, and these guys would have been in my zone with 3-up invulns. Very difficult to deal with. He lost 2 guys on Overwatch, and then failed to kill, only killed 9 guardsmen, so he left 1 guardsman alive. And the way it works is that if that guardsman dies to morale, that the unit didn't kill him, so they don't get the 3-up invul. And so sure enough, it died to morale, but those those priests were just sat there then on just a 5-up invul, and not very hard to kill. So, you know, toughness 3 or whatever. So that was a break for me. The other thing that happened was he pulled his Rhino up to the middle objective, and it disembarked his Arkle Flagellants before moving his Rhino, obviously, but there's only a 9-inch bubble in the middle on this deployment type. And then my scouts were behind the building right in the middle, and he charged me. Sorry, my GPS. 447 east. So yeah, and because my scouts were right on the edge of that little circle, so he charged me, but that was only a 4-inch stooping dive from my 3-man biker unit, and he totally forgot that I could do that, and so I stooping dived for 3 CP, and I got 2 of them back due to Grand Strategist. So for 1 CP, I stooping dived my 3 bikers into his Arkle Flagellants, and I used Avenge the Fallen. Because I lost 3 guys, each biker was on 7 attacks, so I went in there with 21 attacks and just murdered his Arkle Flagellants before they did anything. And then out of that, I got a free 7-inch move, so 4-inch, I charged, I think 9 or 10 inches, so I got a lot of free movement closer towards him, plus the 3-inch pile-in and consolidate. So I got a lot of free movement from that stooping dive, as well as killing all the Arkle Flagellants in 1 move with 1 CP, so it was great. So that was the end of his turn. So then in my second turn, Captain just Hurricane bolted those melee priests off the table, and my bikers with their free move that they got last turn basically were right in their lines with a 4-inch charge into a number of models. I dropped in my Terminators and my Captain right in front of his Dune Crawlers, and then I made all my charges. So I killed a whole bunch of, you know, these Vanguards, Electro Priests, and Crusaders. They're all toughness 3. Those are the kind of things I want to be shooting with Hurricane Bolters. So Hurricane Bolters really did well in this game. And so I charged in and took no damage on Overwatch, tied up, we had a unit of like melee breachers as well. Tied up that unit, all his Dune Crawlers, and I made my charge with my Terminators as well into his Dune Crawlers, and managed to kill a Chicken Walker in shooting as well. So out of his 3-man unit of Chicken Walkers, which are actually I thought were harder to kill, but they're not really. So so that was basically game. The rest of the game spent just slowly killing his Dune Crawlers. And he couldn't take care of my Terminators or all my Captains, and then that was basically the game. End up with a tabling. So that was a good game for me. Everything went well in the first 2 turns, which is what I needed, and made it count. So Grand Strategist and Kurovs in that game, man, I earned a lot. I must have spent maybe 15 CP that game because I just kept earning and refunding it and earning more CP. That was great. Very different from my last game where I don't think I refunded any CP either from my or my opponent's stratagems. So our team won that round. And so we were 2-1-1 going into the last game of the day. It would be really nice to go 3-1-1. We were up against Team Salty. Team Salty brought some really good lists, some good players. I ended up playing Tim Detleaf, who's a guy I played at Capital City Bloodbath last summer. And so it was a fun game. He was playing Oblit Spam. Our matchups weren't great. They had a lot of good lists, so I ended up drawing the Oblit Spam. So, you know, 6 units of Obliterators with a tree, Abaddon, and then some other stuff. Just some a 40-man cultist unit, and then some Nurglings and stuff. So I knew this was going to be a really tough match for me. Obliterators literally obliterate Custodies because they are always wounding on 3s, and 2s if they use Veterans of the Long War, and then they're always at least -1, usually -2 or 3, so I'm usually on my invuln and then almost always doing 2 or 3 damage. So they Obliterators just really kill me. And with Abaddon, they're re-rolling hits, and they can advance and still shoot with the tree. I'm shooting them, and they're at a 0+ save. Yeah, so this was basically a loss for me. I did my best to keep things in space and try and let him drop first, but I lost my nerve and I dropped the turn too early, and unfortunately I should have let the rest of my stuff do more screening first to push him further back, because if I could push him further back and then retreat everything I had behind a central line of sight blocking piece of terrain, I could have just not got shot. You know, he's gonna kill my guardsmen and my scouts, no problem, but he might not have been able to kill all my custodians if I was just hiding and being smart and using cover. But I dropped too early, and then it was basically it was what it was supposed to be, which was a big loss for me. So anyway, I managed to make it all the way to turn 6 before finally getting tabled, but it was inevitable. It might have been closer if it ended on 5. But it didn't. So anyway, so that was a big loss for me and our team. Our team in that round just hinged on 1 game, and on that 1 game we lost that round. So we ended up going 2-1-2, 2 wins, 1 tie, 2 losses, which is too bad because we found out. Well, anyway, so the final standings were, drum roll. CanHammer came in first. Team CanHammer, Chris' team, they did very well, and they came in first by 0.2 points only above the number 2 team, which was Team Rejects, which was Jeff and his team.
And then sneaking ahead of third place team Loaded Dice, which was Dan Platt's team. Everybody wanted to beat Loaded Dice. They were flaunting around the trophy all weekend that they'd won the last two years in a row. So yeah, so that was the top 3. And then Skari and his team, Cobra Kai, came 4th. They did very well. And then 5th was actually Team Salty. So if we had won our last round, we would have been 5th, which is crazy for 5 guys who just came together playing lists that they wanted to play without a lot of coordination. We did really well. In the end, because we lost that last round, we went down to 9th. 9th or 10th, John didn't know, but still a great performance in the top half. But man, we were playing for 5th, which is hard to believe. So that's where we ended up, 9th place, Team CanHammer, and I think I had a lot of fun. Super good games, very friendly games. The atmosphere is awesome. All the extra stuff that goes with it, like the tokens and the gifts and the shirts and the jerseys and the slogans and the team handshakes, all that sort of stuff. Really cool. Everybody got a prize this year, so I got myself a Lord Commissar. Yeah, so it was a great event. John ran it very smoothly, and we got everybody to help us. Before we announced the results, everybody helped us pack up all the tables and load it up into a van for Chris and Jason, so that was great. Yeah, it was a great event. I encourage everybody to come out to CanHammer Team Tournament if they can. You got to have your team ready to go on the sign-up date, because it sells out in 8 to 9 minutes. Got to get yourself ready for that money transfer, like a auto refresh. But I encourage everyone to go. In terms of debrief, so my list I thought did very well. It's not the best list I can make, but it's the list I got locked in with. What I would have done probably is bring more bikes, and drop the Calidus and bring a Calexis instead. The Calidus just wasn't worth it. She didn't make any of her charges. Keep rolling 8s and 9s anyway on her infiltrating ability. The extra CP thing didn't come to bear very often. Just not a good use of 80 points. 85 for the Calexis would have been way better. So I think that's definitely one thing I would change on that list, although I'm not going to be playing this list anymore because the whole meta and everything has changed post FAQ. My current list I'm working on has more bikes, kind of 14-15 bikes, 2 or 3 less captains, although the captains were pretty MVP, some mortars, and the Calexis Assassins, either 2 or 3. I think I have to take 3 basically if you're going to take them at all now. So we're going to start working on that, and for ITC format, for Capital City Bloodbath, it's going to be ITC format, so that's what I'm going to be concentrating now. We have the next PMP in a month, which is also ITC format, so that's what I'm going to be playing. You'll see it on the channel coming up. In terms of MVPs for me, Captain. The 1 CP spent on the 3+ invuln. Sorry, GPS.
7 east.
1 CP on the 3+ invuln, worth its weight in gold. So good, so good. He was the guy who turned 2 losses into small losses or ties, just because he just sits there and cannot be killed. As you heard in the second game, that could have been a tie if the game had ended instead of a small loss, but because that guy survived. And similarly in the last game, it lasted that long. It didn't make any difference overall, but lasted that long because of that. So I think the captains are MVP, but I think 4 is probably too many. Smaller bike units and more of them I think is the way to go. And then the second MVP, you know, I gotta give it to, like, I don't know if they're MVPs, but the Alaris, still good. I mean, every time I try and drop the Alaris, they come back and do something good, and all weekend they were doing good stuff. Let's see, in the first game against Blood Angels, they were the distraction I needed them to be. Now that's a very expensive distraction, but it does take people usually have to use their whole army to kill them, and it lets my bikes move up. So okay, second game was against Hui, and again, they were the guys who came in and tied up the plague burst crawlers for 2 or 3 turns. In the third game, well, nobody could help me against Kieran's list. In the fourth game, they came in and tied up 2 Doom Crawlers and eventually killed them all game. And then in the last game, again, didn't do anything but took out some obliterators, got me a couple of behind enemy lines. So I don't know if they're worth it, because you can, for another 18 points I can get 3 bikes, but they definitely serve a purpose, and the strength 8 definitely serves a purpose with the ability to give it AP -3 on a stratagem. I used a Tanglefoot grenade a couple of times. I used the concussion grenades a couple of times to prevent overwatch. So yeah, I feel like they have some play. I'm gonna see if there's a version of my list that can keep them in, but we're gonna try it out. So that's it. That's CanHammer Team Tournament 2018. I hope you guys enjoyed the coverage. Sorry I didn't get a lot of in-game footage, but I was trying to play hard, and it's hard to film while you're trying to play hard. So I hope you enjoyed what coverage that we did get, and thanks for watching the channel.